So right now, I'm going to show you step by step on how to create the automated continuous integration pipeline in SIT environments. So to build this automated CI pipeline, we need to configure tasks in Cloud Build and Cloud Deploy. So under this navigation bar, I'll click Cloud Build. So for Cloud Build, create a new task by clicking this button, Create Task, and then select your project name, and then the source code repository for this project, and then the branch remain as master branch, and then click Next. And in our case, we are using the blank build template, and then click OK. So I will just cancel this because I already create one here. So let me open this task to show you the actions and the parameters used. So basically for the build action, there are two actions has been used. One is the build image and push to SWR, and another one is upload to release repository. So basically for the first action is build the image from the source code repository that has been pushed just now. And then once the container image is built, and then it will push to the software repository warehouse, which is SWR in Huawei Cloud. So basically, you can just fill in the info here, and then you need to fill in the action name. The tool version can remain as default, and then the image repository is SWR, and then the organization is the organization in your SWR. If you do not have one, you can create one and then select your created organization. And then for the image name and image tag, I'm using the parameter, the custom parameter that I have created under the parameter tab here. So basically, I have checked the runtime setting, which means that every run of the cloud build, I can specify the parameter value for the image name and the build version. So as you can see here, the default parameter value for the image name is AppDemoGA, and then the build version is v1 point, the increase down, which is a predefined parameter. So this parameter means that for every build, it will automatically increase the number of 0.1. So next is upload to release repository. So basically, once it built the image, successfully built the image, you will upload the software package to the cloud release repository in Huawei DevCloud. So basically, you need to specify what is the build package directory, and then the release version, you need to specify the name of it. So once you configure completely, and then you need to click the save button to save this cloud build task to be used in the cloud pipeline later. So next is the cloud deploy. We also need to configure the cloud deploy to be used in our cloud pipeline later. So basically for the cloud deploy, again, we need to click create task and then enter the task name and then select your project name, click next, and then select a blank template for this demo, and then click next, and then you come to for the configuration of the deployment action. So again, I'm not going to create a new one because I already have one here. So I will just open it and then show you the parameter that have been configured. So for the cloud deploy, the deployment actions, we are using the deploy an application on Kubernetes cluster because we want to push our demo app to the Huawei CCE. So we are using this deployment action. So for the action name is, you can specify whatever name you want. And then the cluster type, we are using the custom cluster. And then the Kubernetes service endpoint is in my SIT which is the testing environment, the system integration testing environment, SIT. So basically, I need to change my endpoint to my current one. So I will click manage here, and the service endpoint, click on SIT, and then click on edit. So basically, you can specify whatever service endpoint name you want, and then for the Kubernetes URL, actually we can find it here. So navigate to your SIT account. This is my SIT account. So this is my SIT cluster. Under the command line to click on kubectl. So for the for the Kubernetes URL is actually the public API server address in which the Huawei DevCloud can be connected to this cluster. So we need to copy this one and then go back to our cloud deploy. Go back for the service endpoint configuration. Paste the URL link here. Remember to remove all the space before it, or else it will it can't be connected. So after that, to find to copy the kubectl configuration file, you can click here to download the configuration file. And then once it downloads, you can copy the content here, and then to be pasted here. Under kubeconfig. And then click save. All right, so now we are good to proceed to our configuration in cloud deploy. So I already changed my endpoint here. So this is my Kubernetes cluster service endpoint. And then for the kubectl command, we are using the kube apply because we want to deploy the container demo application into our Kubernetes cluster. So basically, we are using the kubectl apply command. And then we are using the YAML files for the deployments. And then the file source should be the release repository. If you still remember just now, when configuring the cloud build, we have one deployment, we have one build action, which is upload to release repository. So basically is to upload the software package to the release repository. And then from the cloud deploy, we can pull the source code from the release repository for the deployments. So basically you need to specify the directory, which folder, which file you will be used for this deployment. So after that, once configuration done, and then you can click save button to save your cloud deploy task. So as you can see, the message here said that the task has been saved successfully. So after that, once configure the cloud build and cloud deploy, we need to have another function, which is for unit testing. So again, you can create another function under cloud deploy. Let me open the one that I have created, which is the deploy SIT unit test for the unit testing. So you can see here, the deployment action that I use is the run shell commands, and then as well as the run shell scripts. So basically what it does is that it will cd to this one I will connect to my CCE node, which is the nodes in my Kubernetes cluster here in testing environment. After that, I will run this command to pull the test scripts from my OBS in DevOps account. And then after that, I will run the shell script in the nodes for the testing purposes to test that our deployments is successfully deployed. So basically, this is just a very simple unit testing. And then after that, once you've done this step, we can now proceed to the cloud pipeline. Navigate to configure our cloud pipeline. So under this toolbar, we can navigate to cloud pipeline here. So it will direct you to the cloud pipeline page. So this is the cloud pipeline, and then what you need to do is you need to click a create button here, and then select your project name, and then select your pipeline source, which is our Code Hub repository, and then select the repository name, and then the default branch remain as master, and then click next, and then again we are using the blank template, and then click confirm to create a pipeline. So again, I'm not going to create a pipeline because I already have one here. So I will open my created pipeline to show you what are the parameters, the tasks that have been included. So click on the edit button here. So basically, this is the pipeline that I've added in. So first of all, we need to configure the parameter. So the parameter that I've configured, the custom parameter that I've configured is the image name, which I make it as the app demo build. Why I put a different name, because I need to separate the image, which is a tested version with the stable version that need to be deployed in the production environment. That's why for every image that built from this pipeline will be as a tested version, which is named as app demo builds. So the runtime setting, I've checked the runtime setting, and then after that, for the execution plan, I will check triggered when code is committed, which means that every time I submit a new code to the Code Hub repository, which is a DevOps Code Hub, it will trigger this pipeline, and then this pipeline will start the process of running the tasks that I've included. So once you check this one, under the workflow tabs, we can include the tasks that we have created just now. So first one is the source. This is the default one. The repository, the DevOps Code Hub. This is the one that we have configured where we create the pipeline just now. And then after that is for the cloud build, which is for build the image and then push to the repository. So you can see the parameter here. So the type, I'm using the build type. And then this is the cloud build. And then the name, I just put it as cloud build. And then I select the task that I have created, which is DevCloud demo cloud builds. So basically, the repository remains the same. And then the image name, I'm using the reference pipeline parameter, which I've configured under the parameter configuration, which is the image name here. And then after that, the build version, I'm using the timestamp predefined parameter with the build version number here, v1.1 timestamp. So why I use this one is just to differentiate between the tested version and the stable version in the production environment, which means that for every tested version image, the image is tagged with a version number, and then with the timestamp, which it will include the date and time just behind the version number. So after that, you click the save button. So next one, after we build and then push the SWR, the image, and then we need to deploy the application into the Huawei CCE testing environment, which is SIG environment. So how it builds, it will pull the code from the SWR, in which we store our built image there. So basically the types is by using the deployment. And then the name, I just simply put as cloud deploy and then select the task. So this is the task that I have created just now. So, and then this is the image name, same, I'm using the reference pipeline parameter. and then the build version will be the version that has been specified in the cloud build task just now. So that will be, you need to click save the deployment. And then the last one will be the unit test. So the task is very simple. You just select the task that you have created, which is deploy SIT unit test just now, and then click save. And then once you configure the whole pipeline, you can click the save button here. So now we are good to make some changes to our code and then push to the code hub to trigger this pipeline. So to let you see the difference for the changes of the container version in Huawei CCE, I already pushed one version of the image to in my testing environment. So which is with the red color background. So now I'm going to push a new code. Maybe I will just comment the red color background and then change it to blue color background. And then make a new test release to the SIT environment. At the command, hold on. I need to change this blue. Maybe put v1.1 and then type in the command. And then after that, git push. So you have seen that this the code has been successfully pushed to the code hub. And then when you see this one, the pipeline is running. So while waiting for our pipeline to complete its process, we can see that the cloud build action has been successfully run. So right now, we now can navigate to the SWR console and to see whether the image has been pushed. So this is our push image, which is the blue version with the version number v1 version 1.1, and then the timestamp with date and then the time. So after that, we can check our deployment and then refresh the page. It should change to blue color background. Click refresh. So it becomes blue color background. So for the testing environment, the demo has been completed. So now I will pass to Kexiang to demo the remaining part, which is the blue-green deployment strategy and the version rollback in production environment.
Thanks for watching this episode on Cloud Focus. I hope you like it. Please scan the left QR code for more documents about Huawei Cloud technologies and the right QR code for more help in a Huawei Cloud Developer Forum. There's more to come, so stay tuned. I'll see you next Wednesday.